Hello everybody, I think we're live now. Let me check with the tech team to make sure we're up and going. I'm pretty good, Tapitra. How about you? Tapitra, today will you be answering the technical questions, correct? I had to do this on my phone today because my computers are acting up. So let's go ahead and post the link in all our social media, letting them know that we are live right now and that we'll be answering any questions that they have. Since I'm doing this on my phone, I may have some interruptions with calls and stuff like that, but we'll just try to get through it today. I have to unplug my business phone here. This thing is really loud. Once we get some more viewers coming in, we'll go down a list of questions that I've been asked on different social media outlets and Telegram. The other day I had some interesting questions that came in regards to the future plan of P2P, and I'll try to see if I can find it here real quick, and I'll just kind of go through what he was asking and just kind of touch base on some of those issues. I'll have to go into the Telegram app. He actually asked me the questions from Telegram last night, and there were some interesting questions in regards to our future plans and how we plan to overcome some of the obstacles that are out here. So just give me one moment here so I can get Telegram up and going. We got a lot of telegrams coming in. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and move forward with asking them. I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities for you. And just circle back to the Telegram conversation I was having. Being that I had to do this on my cell phone today, I couldn't actually share the screen, but I would have liked to have shared the screen with you guys to see the conversation that he and I was having. Not sure if y'all can hear all the beeping and stuff, but I'll try to turn that down. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and start moving on with some of the questions that I have here. These are some of the questions that have been asked of us through, like I said, through different social media outlets. One of the main questions is, how did I come up with this idea, and is it based on a market demand, based on research? Yes, we did do extensive research into the unemployment percentage across the globe. It's kind of hard to track global unemployment because of the fact that it's just an enormous amount of people, and there's not a lot of data out there that supports that, especially in rural areas where unemployment is pretty much common there. So we had to do it to the best of our abilities based on the information provided. There is a high demand for the service that we're offering, and there's only 2 or 3 companies out there that offer this service, but they are actually how do I say it? They're governed by the company themselves, so there's a lot of biased ways to prevent an individual from actually receiving funding in their time of need, based on the policies and the different stipulations that they have. Coming across the different research that we have done in different areas, and you can take a look at our business plan, which also has some good information in regards to our research methods and all that sort of stuff. We really found that in other countries other than the United States, this kind of service is not offered at all. Our goal here was to actually work parallel to the governmental unemployment um, that's available in that particular country. But it seems that, being the fact that there are certain criterias that one must meet to actually receive the unemployment benefits, I find that we're going to end up not replacing governmental unemployment, but going to be a go-to resource for supplemental unemployment benefits. So, being that in those different areas it's not really offered, I have some high expectation and goals for P2P as far as to reach those markets in those areas. Why did you choose an ICD, a coin distribution, as a model? We chose an ICD because we are not an ICO. An ICO is a initial coin offering because they're trying to sell something in exchange for something of a value in exchange for fiat currency, or in many cases Bitcoin and all of that. I just read your deal, Anita. Sorry. Anyways, so we chose the ICD model because we're not an ICO, being that we're not trying to raise the funding in order to continue the project. Initially, we started out that we were going to hold an ICO. But I'm just really a perfectionist, and I like to push forward. I mean, I didn't see any reason why we shouldn't have kept going all the way up till our sale to try to complete our product. As you can see now, we're offering the free memberships and all that at joinp2p.com. So we've actually completed over 80 something, I'll say 85% of the actual product to date. So we are actually doing an initial coin distribution because our product is actually able to maintain and house data, formulate the calculations based on the stipulations in the system for payouts and such. So there was no need to do an ICO. Our goal now is to actually get the tokens out into the hands of the people so that they can actually use them in our system. We were going to do it on the actual Join P2P product website, but with the way that things were going, and we had already developed an ICO site, that we just went ahead and continued doing that and changed the model that we were using. This way we can actually kind of control also the distribution process. We know that there's going to be some big whales out there that come along and want to buy millions and millions of tokens, but we're going to be able to limit them on the ICD website as opposed to if they purchase them directly from the Join P2P site. There's no limitation on how many tokens a person can hold, because they would need those tokens in order to renew, and for new members in order to start a membership with P2P. What is P2P all about and how it solves common people problems? Okay, may I know what is P2P all about and how it solves common people's problems? One of the main problems in the unemployment industry is the lack of course, funding. You become unemployed, you no longer can support your basic needs of life. I personally went through an ordeal like this last year in October of 2017. My wife and I was in a horrible car wreck where I was in a wheelchair for all of the rest of 2017 and the better part of this year also. Anyways, being the fact that it's just us two, we didn't have any, I guess per se, income coming in other than what was from my other company that I own, WGC Construction, and so it had me a lot of time to thinking about what would have happened if I wasn't in the position that I was in to have such a large savings and to be able to afford the monthly bills that were coming in for both of us, for that matter. We would have been homeless. Governmental disability required that you be disabled for 1 year. Now, this is just in the United States. We have some of the most lenient laws and criterias in regards to disability income and things like that. So I can only vouch for the United States as far as my experience, but I have heard of different experiences across different parts of the globe also in regards to unemployment. But what I was saying was that the unemployment, the disability benefits wouldn't kick in for 1 year. So what would a person do in the meantime of that 1 year? So I started doing some research on different companies that may offer something like this, a disability, a unemployment benefit plan and things like that. And I did find that there are some large insurance companies that offer this sort of stuff to owners of a company, but they do not offer it to the employees of the company. So I came up with the idea of P2P because I did have a commercial policy on the vehicle that was in the accident when we was ran off the road, but the insurance company, and I'm not going to say any names, but the particular insurance company fought to not pay the policy. They tried to use the fact that my wife was my wife, so therefore they would only pay the maximum for the state that we live in. Living in Texas, the maximum was $30,000, and so we had medical bills. My medical bills were over $130,000. My wife's medical bills was a little over $100,000. So I started thinking about this, like, well, if you're paying into an insurance premium, why can you not access those funds when you need it most? And so I've always been, for the longest time, been a blockchain enthusiast and had followed Bitcoin for about 5 or 6 years now from its startup. And I learned in the meantime, as I was learning about the different coins and all that, I also learned about blockchain in itself and how it decentralized and takes the authority from one single point and distributes it across the many people that are involved. So I decided to, hello Elza, I decided to utilize the blockchain resources, mainly Ethereum, to actually take the authority away from the company itself. This P2P is not a company per se. It's more of a community of people that are, because the company's not governing your payouts. The community itself will be governing the payouts. And so I decided to go with the blockchain approach as opposed to just opening a typical insurance modeled business. Can you explain what is ICD? How it is different from ICO? Yeah, I kind of touched base on that a second ago, but an ICD is initial coin distribution. Our goal is to get the coins into the buyer's hands. We know that there are going to be many out there that purchase P2P tokens for trading abilities, and this allows us to control the amount of tokens that one can purchase. We can also change the model at any time, at any point, and redirect it to a certain location. Because P2P is supposed to be a fair, transparent platform, and if someone is holding millions of P2P tokens and just holding them, they're not circulating through the coin cycle. So we actually need it to circulate through the cycle itself. This actually helps us to grow as a company as a whole and produce more and more members. It also helps the token value to rise, so that therefore we can offer benefits to more and more members out there. The cost of the membership does not change. If the value of the token rises, then therefore, say for instance, the value of the token becomes, let's just throw out a hypothetical number here. Let's just say $20, right? And a person wanted to purchase a $20 membership, they would only use one token. On the same scale, if the token is valued at $10, they would have to use two tokens. So therefore, we've only minted 100 million tokens. In the beginning, only 40 million will be distributed across the globe. So therefore, the P2P ecosystem itself is reliant on the fact that the token value will rise. It's not the value rising is not technically or directed toward individuals at all that are wanting to hold the P2P token. It's directed toward the potential members and the current members to actually renew and start new memberships with the P2P community. Okay, I have a question here I'm not fully understanding, but we'll try to get through it here. We're here when you need us most. That's our motto. We are here when you need us most, because we will not deny anyone benefits. As long as you fit into the particular framework of the P2P system and how it functions. For instance, you must be an active member for XOXO amount of time. So as long as you fit into that criteria, you can move on to the next step, which is out of the system itself's control of whether or not you receive benefits. That's when you make it all the way to the point to the evaluation by your peers. Let me turn this volume down on this laptop here. I'm getting a lot of buzzing and beeping going on. So, anyways, expert who can help. Solution or expert who can help. We're going to skip that one because I don't really understand what they're trying to ask. Okay, can you explain an anonymous crowdsourcing process? Okay, this is very interesting. We are, to the best of my knowledge, we are the only blockchain startup that is utilizing crowdsourcing for data. What that means is that the system functions on a code method, and it has to be fed information in order to calculate that code. So when you apply or request benefits, it goes to 5 of your peers. Well, it actually goes to many peers, but the first 5 that actually respond will be able to participate. So they're going to evaluate based on a 5-question system. How they answer those questions will determine the amount of the benefits that you receive. So the anonymous crowdsourcing is actually that we do not know as a company, and P2P as the system does not know exactly who, what, or control how the person will answer those questions. So this allows us to keep everything fair and yet transparent in the decision-making process, because we do not control that. One of the main points, again, circling back to my incident and the accident that we had, my wife and I, we were left at the mercy of the insurance company. And they were trying to find every loophole to not pay out those benefits. We ended up being paid out to the maximum amount, but I had to fight my own insurance company in order for that to happen. I didn't feel I didn't feel, and I don't believe that anyone ever being in that situation would believe that is fair. People take insurance for granted. They think that, and I've been working in insurance for quite a while. I've worked in medical at Baylor Medical Center, dealing with that aspect. I own a insurance property claims and construction company. So I've dealt with it on many levels, and I've seen what the insurance can actually do and how everything's left up to perception. It's based on the perception. Those policies are written in such a vague manner that they can go in almost any direction. Nothing is clear cut. Many do not understand that legal language that is in the policy, for one. For two, most don't even bother to read their policy to try to know what's in the actual amendments and the endorsements that are in the policy itself. So in my particular situation, the insurance company tried to use an endorsement that was in the policy that states, two parts. One is that it was stating that since my wife works for the company also, it was stating that if the accident happened during work hours, then it falls onto onto my company insurance, not my automotive insurance. And if they did pay it, they're trying to say because she was my wife that they only will pay up to the max amount of $30,000. Of course, like everyone else, I never read my policy. I don't even believe I was actually presented with the full binder that actually encloses all these stipulations ever. I was able to get out of this because I was with another insurance company about a year prior to the accident, and when I provided them, they wanted me to move over to their insurance company. I'm not using any names here as far as insurance companies, but they wanted me to move over to their insurance company. So I provided them with the current policy that I had, that had an endorsement that took out that particular section, eliminating the husband and wife factor, and also eliminating the part of being the employee in work hours. So, being the fact that they mismanaged my records because they did not provide me an apples to apples policy, then I was able to go back to them and say, well, this is what you should have done in the first place, and you guys didn't do it. So that opened up a whole nother can of worms there, and eventually they ended up paying out. But that's an ordeal that really should not be the case. So we're utilizing crowdsourcing in order to eliminate the authority the biased authority at that, because the insurance companies benefit when they don't pay claims. That it just increases their profit margin. Just think about it. They had to pay out hundreds of thousands of dollars, on my claim alone. My car was valued at over. I had a Z06 Corvette. It was valued at over $120,000. So, and then the medicals. So those were several $100,000 that they had to pay out, which rightfully should pay out because I do pay my premiums. My premiums are very high a month also, and they should have paid them out, and yet I had to fight with them. But doing the anonymous crowdsourcing, it takes the control that the center unit, the middleman, which will be us, P2P, and other insurance companies. It takes us out of the process. We wanted to allow the members themselves to actually make the decisions on these benefit requests, but we also wanted to make it to where no one would be denied either. I don't feel that if you pay your premiums at bare minimum, you should receive back. When you're caught in a position like that, you should at bare minimum receive back the funding that you have, to a degree of the funding that you have actually paid into it. I think that's only fair, so that's why we chose the anonymous crowdsourcing process, and that's how the crowdsourcing process works. Do I have any other questions out here? You guys have to excuse me. We've got a little baby in the house, and she's been sick, so I'm a little under weather myself. Okay, I guess I'll. There's no more questions out here. Great explanation. That's so useful. Thank you. By your own story. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. Okay, so how the collected data would be used. It's very limited on the information that we will actually collect. It's basically based on your story of what happened to you. In my situation, if P2P had existed, I would have, of course, provided I would have uploaded into the system a doctor's note saying that I've been barely injured, possibly maybe a police report or something like that to further back up my statement of claim. And you're welcome, Anita. And so the process, the data that's collected is really limited on what we actually collect on you. It's all based on what you provide to help reinforce your claim. If you say that you were fired from your job or laid off, of course, you receive a pink slip. You would upload that into the system. The system automatically knows what job you're currently working at, because you had actually put that information in there prior. And you can't change it without a written request. So we would know that that job matches that job, and so forth and so forth. So, or that employer. But as far as the actual data in itself, it'll be used just to validate your statement of claim. And of course, it'll be distributed on the blockchain. Okay. How are users' employment status been verified? I'm not really sure how to answer this question. It's reading, how are users' employment status been verified? Does anybody have any input on that question? I can't really understand if they're asking how would the current employment status, meaning saying that you are employed, or the employment status that you were employed and then became unemployed. If it's the latter, then that's up to the members to actually make that determination based on the questions. When you actually submit your membership, you also you've agreed to the terms and conditions, which allows the members to, if they feel the necessary need to contact your employer or whatever, they have the right to do so, and you've provided that information, of course. That is actually in the system. So if you're asking, and if this question is asking the employment status when you actually sign up, then that's your employment status. If you put a phony or fraudulent employment status there, then I mean, when you try to receive benefits at that time, I mean, it would have to be on that company and so forth. So, I mean, if you're not employed there and we check it, when I say we, I mean referring to the members, checks the status, then of course, they're going to find out that you was not employed there. There are 2 layers of verifications. Can you tell us a little bit more about the process? Well, the first layer of verification is verifying that you've met and the system does this for you. That seems quite unique. Yes, it is very unique. It took a lot of brain work to try to figure out all the ins and outs of how this thing would actually process and would work. It has to be financially stable. It has to be economical. And we still have to fill the need that is required of the system, meaning to touch in the unemployed demographic, and also those that are proactive towards unemployment. Okay, the 2 layers of verification. The first verification level is system level. The system has certain criteria must be met before you can even request benefits. One criteria is you must have an active membership for a minimum of 6 months. So the system is checking that. It's checking to make sure that you have a current job in the system. In other words, that you're just not, it won't allow you to have a membership and not have a employer in the system, for one. So it checks against that also. The second layer of verification is the verification process in the crowdsourcing. This part of it is where the questions are distributed out to the many members and then the first 5 of the members that actually respond back will be able to participate. They're asked the questions, of course, and then based on the questions, the calculations will be calculated by the system, and the funds will be distributed. So that's the second layer of the verification process. All right, let's see here. How will token sales be organized? Is there a KYC? Yes, there is a KYC process. Being the fact that we do not have, being the fact that we actually have a functional product, we're not selling an ICO again. We're not holding an initial coin offering. We're actually holding an ICD. We're trying to distribute the tokens that are necessary for the system to function. We contemplated about giving them for free and doing an airdrop, but that's not financially feasible. Being that there's a 2 return on these tokens. So basically, if you use them for a membership, they have to be backed by a dollar amount. So therefore, at some point, the tokens will have to be used to pay out on those memberships. So with that being the case, the system, we just cannot afford to do that. So we have to sell those tokens in order for you to renew your memberships and so forth. It's quite unique. Okay. The pre-sale of starters, what's your expectations? I'm not really sure that I have an expectation in the pre-sale. I mean, I know that's where some of the larger investors come into place. But then again, I mean, like I said, we're not trying to provide the tokens for them to be manipulated in the market. So we did the traditional of the pre-sale in hopes that the individuals will actually purchase, but hold on one second. All right. We did the pre-sale in hopes that individuals will actually purchase, but I mean, we're not trying to allow anyone to actually manipulate the system and how we planned it to function. So in theory, we need the tokens to be distributed out across the globe. If just one person holds the tokens, then what's the benefit for other people? There isn't any. And then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of what P2P is trying to do. And yes, there is a KYC process. So when you sign on to the ICD website, you'll sign up and you'll follow the process as far as uploading your identification and other documents to prove you're who you say you are. Elza Road, thanks. And one more thing, which coins will be accepted during ICD? Well, we're not only just accepting coins. Being the fact that the system, you can actually purchase, you get major discounts when you use P2P, and eventually we'll eliminate fiat currency altogether. But as far as right now, and until our company become globally known and accessible by everyone in the globe, in the world, we have to sideline fiat currency also. So the tokens that we're accepting are Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. But we're also using PayPal, which also offers Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. So you could purchase your tokens with cash also. Let's see, where am I here? Star Wars expectations. Okay, how many people are in your team? Well, we have an expanded team, and then we have a main team. And what I mean by that is that we have companies that we've allianced with that we're going to be posting on the ICD site. That of course brings in several in their, in their organization. So it's kind of a hard question to answer there. But locally on the site, I believe we have a total of probably like 20 or so team members. We have of course our tech team, our business department, finances, things like that, lenders who have partnered with us and stuff like that. Can you explain to your listeners basic and premium membership package? Okay, so this is a good question. What are the differences between the basic and the premium membership package? Well, the way that I saw this, okay, so since we're a global company, and USD is in the top of the value per unit. You're welcome, Elsa. I had to look at this thing from a perspective of also in areas where the dollar is valued, 100 times more. So I created the basic package, which goes down to as low as I believe it's $12 a year. I mean, that's like what people spend on coffee, So, or, on a McDonald's burger or something, on a McDonald's Happy Meal and stuff. But so the basic package is more so designed to appeal to less fortunate areas. Now you have to remember, I didn't want this thing to just be in the United States, because the problem does not just exist here. It exists all over the world. According to our research, over, I think it was like 6%, if I remember correct, 6% of the United States, or of the globe, the world, is unemployed. And this is only based on the numbers that can be calculated. Meaning that, like, in Dallas alone, we have a enormous population of homeless people. Well, many of those homeless people have fell out of the, out of the job market for so long, they're no longer even calculated in the census. So therefore, their number of being unemployed is completely eliminated. So the numbers are not actually accurate. But, that's the global part of it anyway. Let's see where we're at now. Okay, so, all right, back onto the premium and basic memberships. Sorry, I'm trying to read everything and I lost track there. So, the basic memberships, like I said, was actually designed to appeal more to the lower income communities across the globe. So, memberships as low as $12 pay out. The $12 membership a year pays out, I believe, 200 USD. Well, 200 USD in some countries, people could live on that for 5-6 months, maybe even a year. So that's what it's really directed toward. I know that those memberships are not going to appeal to someone in the United States, of course. Maybe a college student or something, maybe I don't know, but it's not really directed more so for the for healthier, financially stable countries. It's more for areas that are not so financially stable. And then, of course, the premium memberships pay up to a maximum. I think the highest membership available is a payout of $9,000. So that's something that can actually be worked with in the United States. I mean, if I had if this would have been available to me, I mean, $9,000, would have carried me a little ways, and it would at least bought me some time, if I wasn't, long term disabled, bought me some time in order to try to get my affairs in order, start trying to reduce some bills down and things like that, so that I can restructure and put myself in my new income bracket. So that was the theory behind the basic membership and the premium memberships, is that I didn't want to leave, since it is a global community, I didn't want to leave others that could not afford these higher memberships out of the equation. Okay. Your solution is based on Ethereum. What's the advantage? Ethereum is very flexible. It's easier to mint coins and things like that, and Ethereum has been around the longest and seems to be the most stable. Of course, there's Tron Network, who is comparing itself to Ethereum. We've thought about being on the Tron system, but Ethereum just seems to have been the better choice all in all, in regards to how we're functioning. Okay, ICOs. This is a good question. ICOs and STOs mostly start crowdfunding without any product. You're different. Can you tell us more about your motto and how you succeed to have the product? Well, we've got the product because I'm a perfectionist and I just keep pushing. Once the ball was rolling, I just kept going. Well, what about this? And let's do this. And let's make it like that. And before I knew it, we actually had a product that was available. So that pretty much led us to actually having the product. Was it the goal initially? No, not at all. But I'm not one to actually, I like to get things done. And so my goal was to actually just keep moving. I don't believe in just standing still, so we ended up moving forward until we completed the product. I knew that there was a possibility that we could do that. I didn't realize till about halfway in that we would actually do it. But, we was able to, get it done. And we're live with it, so you guys should go get your free memberships immediately while we're still offering them for free. Your solution is based on the market is afraid at the moment. Do you have any wisdom words for all of us who believe in blockchain? Yeah, I do have some words of wisdom for everyone. The market is in a bearish phase right now, and as a community, as a blockchain community, we have to continue to feed this. If we allow it to starve, what's going to end up happening is later on down the line, the ones with the money that pretty much control the more part of the globe today in existence, the big banks and things like that, they're just going to swoop in there and take that technology and then turn around and sell it right back to you for more money. I mean, that's what's happening now. The downfall in Bitcoin and the downfall in altcoins today existing is not by accident. This has happened many of times. It happened with the .com bubble. And many of the revolutionary movements that have, changed how we function as a, society. This thing started with Bitcoin. And, people suspect who the true inventor of Bitcoin is, Nakamoto or something like that. I can't remember his name, or I can't pronounce his name, actually. Anyways, and it started with his idea of how this thing should function. Well, it, of course, took a branch off onto Ethereum, and then, the Tron network, the Neo, the many others try to create or have created their own platform version of, what should be in a blockchain. And they've changed and tweaked many little different things or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, if the community doesn't support and back these revolutionary ideas, the meaning of blockchain is that it's to be owned by the people, right? Well, the people have to support the community. They have to support the leaders that are changing the game in all of these industries. If you don't do that, then it's going to fall. And the ones that do have the money will come in there and sweep it all up. And then they'll just start it all back up again and then rebrand it and call it something different and then sell it to you for 15,000 times more than what it was today. So you can't let the market, the bearish market, fool you. Be like them. Buy now while it's low and just forget about it. I mean, you know how many people were kicking themselves in the butt when they heard about the .com thing, and the internet phase and all that? I mean, oh, that'll never work and this and that. And the media feeds feeds certain, insecurities that people have already have based on the fact of how the economics of it is functioning, And so it just only reassures you that, you don't need to purchase or, just let it go on by or whatever. But the truth of the matter is you need to listen to your gut and actually buy and, hold on to it because it's going to be of value. I mean, all these different altcoins, I'm not saying that every one of them will be, because there are many projects that will never, ever see the light of day. And that's just the truth. But for the ones that actually will produce, and you do see progress going on, then yeah, those are the ones that that you really do need to support. Like P2P. We already have a working product. We just need to present it to the masses. Our goal now is mainly advertising. We're still testing, and I think right now the site is under some maintenance. So, we're going to be doing testing off and on during the phase of the free memberships. So, if you experience that and some testing is going on or some maintenance or something, then just check back later on, and you'll be able to go ahead and sign up. Here, by the end of the ICD, of course, the system will be functioning and fully functioning, and we shouldn't have those issues as far as maintenance and updates. So get your P2P tokens today while they're on sale. 40 million tokens is offered. Can you explain the distribution process and the benefits of the ICD stage? Yes. Okay, so we decided to offer 40% of the total minted 100 million P2P tokens. This is based on two factors. One is that, of course, we need to get the tokens to the public so that they can start using them. And then, excuse me. Okay. First, we need to get the tokens to the public so they can start using them to support the system. But we had to limit the amount of tokens that we actually offered so that we can build the momentum for the price of the token to actually rise. Because the cycle is that it started in the system with us, and then it's distributed out. Then it comes back and it will come back into the cycle, whether it be on the exchange level, on the membership level, or back to us. So the token has to go through its cycle. So the token starts here with an active membership. Then it's paid out to a member that's requested benefits. Then it's back into the exchange so they can exchange for fiat currency. Then back to a member that's renewing the membership or starting a new membership. Then back to the P2P system. Well, 40 million seemed to have been a good roundabout number based on the calculations and how long we anticipate for the tokens to be in any one area of the cycle. So the same token. So if I can mark a token with an X, right? That because these are all digital, so there's no physical token, but you have to look at it in terms of physicals. So if I can mark one token with an X and I put it into the system, how long would it take for that particular token to move to a payout stage and all the way back around? Well, as people are purchasing from the exchanges to renew and to purchase new memberships, this creates a supply and demand method. And there's limited amounts, so therefore, and with the price of the token being as low as it is, it takes a larger quantity of tokens to purchase the membership. Eventually, the tokens will be equal to approximately the middle class membership level. Can you tell us more about 5-member peer consensus team? The 5-member peer consensus is the crowdsourcing method. Again, we utilize the 5 members for the crowdsourcing of data to put back into the system to make the determination of the value amount of the members' payout. Let's see, also distributed data. Okay, so the 5-member peer consensus is based on the crowdsourcing. So basically, it has to do with the with when a member actually applies for the benefits, it's distributed out to 5 chosen members. And I use the term chosen because it actually goes out to multi-members, many, and the first 5 that actually respond, will be able to participate. Oh, and we're also rewarding the members themselves for their participation. So they receive, I believe it's 20
a value of 20 USD in P2P tokens or 10 USD. I can't really remember because we were kind of playing back and forth with it, but I think it ended up being a value of 10 USD. But so the participants are actually rewarded also, but they'll answer the 5 questions and then they'll be able to submit the information, and then the system calculates the generated crowdsourced data in the determination of actually determining what amount that the participant will receive. Also, distributed data ledger. So interesting. And smart. System can benefit. Well, the distributed data ledger is keeping everything fair. So basically, the numbers that are calculated are actually spread across the blockchain. So there's no way for us to actually alter this. Again, from the very beginning, I wanted to eliminate the middleman, the company itself, from the decision-making process. So by distributing it on a distributed ledger, there's no way for us to actually alter this. Once it's written in the code and the block is created, of course, on the blockchain, there's no editing to that. The next one has to come through and validate that. So we can't change it as the company. As P2P as a whole, as a company, cannot edit or change what has happened. Okay, I got time for a couple more questions, and then we're going to be wrapping this up. It seems like it's about 12:15, and I got some other things I need to tend to. So, do we have any other questions that are out there? And I'm pretty much done with this. Let me go through here, see if I answered any other questions that will do. Okay, here's a good question that was asked earlier on that I missed. Let's see. Do we have any competitors? Yeah, we do have a few competitors in the United States anyway. I guess to a degree our competitor, I guess, is governmental unemployment benefits, but not technically, because we're not trying to replace the governmental unemployment benefits. This is a paid service, independent paid service that people can fill in the gaps of governmental unemployment. Governmental unemployment only pays out a certain percentage of your actual pay. So there's a gap in between there. Then also, it's a fallback for if you become unemployed and you do not qualify for the governmental unemployment. Then, that's where we step in the place here. And then also, we're not subject to human error, nor are we subject to human biased decision making. So that's really the main factor of how we're different. Okay. Also, beacons your ass, great. Well, thank you, Anita. I appreciate that. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I've got some more things to do today. So, anyways, don't forget to go to joinp2p.com to get your free membership. If you do find that it's under maintenance or you can't access it, then just come back at a later time and it should be up and going. Just give it a couple hours or so. Anyways, also go to www.p2pglobal.io and purchase your P2P tokens. We look forward to you on the next AMA, and I hope we can get our community much, 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 much bigger than this. So, anyways, you guys have a good day, and remember, we're here when you need them most.